remember all your stuff?
Yeah, I'm like, I don't even...
what have we been up to recently?
Like, you don't remember anything? I drink a lot.
Coffee time. Look at my guest today. I got the vocalist of Inner Decay, Silvestre Flores. Howdy. Alright. God damn it, this is going to be an edit, isn't it? Alright, I'll start over.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's like one of those things where it's like, we're not shamelessly promoting, but we kind of are.
Just sneak it in there. Like,
We're not being like, yeah, you know. I suck it. We're promoting our band. Alright, everybody. Episode 3, Coffee Time. With me is the vocalist of Inner Decay, Silvestre Flores.
Howdy.
Alright, and let's just start off right off the bat. The last episode, I almost nearly forgot, but this is coffee time. So, today, I've got from Starbucks, Komodo Dragon Blend. It's a dark roast. It is my personal favorite, you know. Sometimes you can't get craft coffee, you know. Sometimes you have to do things on the fly. And that's what it is today. I basically went corporate America, and I got
I love Starbucks, man.
Yeah.
I used to hate it, and it grew on me.
Oh yeah, I like, you know, it was the same thing. I was definitely a Dunkin' man, you know, and I still am. But every now and again, I like to treat myself to their fancy coffee. You know, I don't necessarily like their crazy or sugary drinks, but the coffee is really sweet.
Especially if you brew it at home.
Yeah, exactly. So, I will admit, there is definitely a reason why I wanted to have you immediately, and it's because in, would you say 2 weeks?
Yeah, about 2 weeks. Yep.
In 2 weeks, Inner Decay is going to be opening up for Allegion, Ex Mortis, and Reaping Asmodia. And also, Central Disorder is going to be on that bill as well. So I figured it'd be nice to do a little cross promotion. So it's pretty sweet. I saw you guys at Reggie's. What was that? What was that day? Was that Holiday Horse? Yeah, that was
Holiday Horse. Yeah.
How did you guys get on that bill?
I think Alfred got it. He does most of our booking now, our bassist.
Okay.
And I think we just got offered it. He must have been talking with Shane, and I think it got offered that way.
Shane booking God over at Reggie's.
Yeah.
So I saw these guys play, and it was for, I think Macabre was headlining that day, right?
They headline every Holiday Horror.
Yeah. There's Macabre and who else? There was Jungle Rock.
Jungle Rock was there too, yeah.
Dude, they were awesome. Yeah. Chicago, basically based out of Chicago, right?
Yeah,
Jungle
and then,
Rock.
they had but Blood of the Wolf was too, I think.
Blood of the Wolf, another awesome
on the other
band.
stage, and then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, they had alternating stages, and these guys were the first, I think, to go on the Reggie's Rock stage.
Yep.
Yeah, I was front row for these guys. And Inner Decay, basically, we've played with you guys several times. With Vicious Attack, we've played with these guys several times.
Yeah, have we played with Central Disorder together?
No,
right?
No.
Okay, yeah, so was it Vicious Attack once or twice? Or
with Vicious Attack?
Yeah.
I think it's been twice, more than twice.
One time was at Tony Spillman's.
Yeah. That was. Yeah, the last time we played with you guys that I remember was at the Live Wire, right?
For sure, yeah.
And that was one of, I don't know if it was one of Alex's first shows as our vocalist. Maybe it was like his fourth at that point, third or fourth. But Alex, our new vocalist, you know, it was his first time playing the Live Wire, so it was nice, you know. It was a good show.
Yep.
But, yeah, you know, I figured a little cross promotion here. We're both going to be on that show. Are you guys excited? That'd be your second time playing.
Oh
Reggie's,
yeah,
right?
I'm really excited because I love playing at the. We love going to Reggie's in general. Just that's like our go-to for like all major shows, man. And when Dying Fetus came there like twice, I went to see them like both times at Dying Fetus or at Reggie's, and we always go for their wings, and their wings are so good.
But Yeah, I mean, Reggie's has been definitely a home for Vicious Attack. We've played several shows there. We're good buddies with Shane, and yeah, it's definitely our favorite venue as well. So, you guys got on that, bill. So that's pretty sweet. Looking forward to sharing the stage with you guys.
Yep, you too.
Yeah, it's gonna be pretty sweet. I know the guys in Ex Mortis, so
Yeah, we played one show with them before in Crest Hill. What was it, Bottabrew?
the Barbara.
Yeah, we played. That was a fun show. That show was packed too, so
Yeah.
I can only imagine how packed this show might be.
Yeah, it's gonna be pretty sweet.
Yep.
Yeah, and I'm a huge fan of Allegiant. That's the reason I immediately saw that they were on the bill. I'm like, ah! I immediately typed to Shane. I'm like, please. Yeah. It's a big influence for me, not only me, but the guys in Central Disorder as well. So, yeah, I don't know if you've had the chance to listen to us,
Yeah,
but
I
we're
checked them
definitely
out.
more of the melodic metal, like, not necessarily tech. We'll leave that up to Allegiant.
Allegiant, yeah.
Yeah, but we're very excited to be playing that show with you.
Yep,
So,
same.
all right, we got the coffee. We got a little promotion out of the way. Let's start off at the beginning. So, tell me about like your musical history. Like, was Inner Decay your first band?
No, far from it actually. Well, I started off just playing like in middle school band. I played the saxophone. And so I enjoyed that up until like we got to high school, and then I found out that, well, if you join the band, well, you have to go to like all the football games, and like you have to play for the football kids.
So
and,
it becomes like a thing, basically.
Yeah, and I'm like, and I was an athlete too, so I'm like, man, fuck that shit. I don't want to be cheering for these guys. Like,
What'd you play? Football, wrestling?
no, I was. I love football, but I was never. I never played football. I wrestled, and I played a little bit of soccer. Wrestling was all 4 years, so.
Okay.
And
So you're playing, in this band. You figure it's not really for you.
yeah, and I like the music and stuff, but I was getting into like punk rock at that time, and I didn't want to like. I just didn't like that they were like telling like. I mean, obviously they have to tell you what to play, but I just didn't want to be playing what they wanted me to play. I'm just like, I lost interest in it basically.
Yeah.
So I didn't really do anything for.
You'd be surprised. You get a lot of those people who are like, when they first start, I guess their intro into music is like choir or something like that, and then they just make a complete, 360.
Yeah. But after that, I didn't do anything up until like my junior year or senior year of high school. That's because my brother was playing guitar. He was taking like the beginner's guitar in freshman year. He's 2 years younger than me, and so he learned really fast because he was playing all the Metallica songs and Iron Maiden songs. Okay. And then my mom's boyfriend was like, I was always just like singing karaoke over there because they like to do that. And he's like, oh yeah, you got a really good voice. Why don't you guys start a band? So I'm like, yeah, sure, why not? So we did.
So this was, you still weren't listening to metal yet?
I was listening. Well, I was a lot of punk rock up into middle school. I mean, I started off with like Blink-182, and they got me into.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll still put them on and be like, yeah, what's my age again?
We all have those, those bands that like, when you sit down and think about it, you're like, ooh, oof,
The funniest thing is, like in middle school, all those people that I hung out with that were all into that, like, like that's when I found out what a poser was. Apparently,
Yeah.
Like I came in there with like
poser.
I'm like, man, you're a poser, because I was just transitioning into
Right.
like I was listening to like rap before that. And,
yeah, me too. I was not metal at all, and then. Like I lived in Chicago, obviously I was listening to like a lot of hip hop, and just if it was rap, it was a lot of the old school rap, pre Little John era. Yeah, that's kind of when music kind of changed a little bit in that genre. So basically, you're forming this band, all right? Is this kind of like the skeleton? Well, now which band was this?
This was Internal Lacerations. This was like my first band ever, and it was me, my brother, a guy named Zach Fulmer. He's actually he's in a band called Mord Frieza now. Okay. He's a drummer. He's really good. And we like switched bassists a bunch of times. My girlfriend at the time was the bassist, and we like switched to someone else, a guy named Zach and Vergo, I think. And now one of my best buddies, Zach Zarowski. So we actually had a point where we were 3 Zachs in the band. That's pretty funny.
That is pretty funny.
And but then I went to college. and I was still trying to keep the band going because it was like my baby. And but it started getting difficult. We weren't like practicing as much, and just really wasn't going anywhere.
Schedules.
Yeah, everybody had like was kind of going off to different things, and then it got to the point where we kind of like we pretty much just died. And so then I'm like, man, I got so used to like being in a band, so I was just looking for other bands. And I think after that I joined a band that was we called it Wraith. It was being formed. That was it was a bunch of like younger kids though. Like they're all like still in high school, I think, and I was like 20 or something like that, 21, and 21 by that point. So we played like 2 to 3 shows, but then they had like their differences, so that broke apart.
Oh yeah.
And then I'm like, well, I still need a band, and then
And this is all in Chicago?
Well, Internal Lacerations was Addison,
Okay.
which is right
Addison.
by
Yeah.
was right by Chicago.
By the O'Hare?
Yeah, right by the O'Hare. And Wraith was Elmhurst, so right next door.
Okay.
And then after that I can't remember what order. Oh no, I was definitely in Inner Decay was the next band that came up, and then I tried out for them. They had like a.
So they were already established?
Kinda like they were. Tom, our guitarist, he had been like forming that for like. I think he had like another band before that with a lot of the same members, and like then that band kind of like didn't work out, but he kind of kept the same members, well, some of the same members, so it kind of evolved into like a band without a name, and then they were still looking for a vocalist, and they said that they had gone through a few vocalists and nobody was really sticking, and then finally I came in there, and then it was the weirdest thing because I was practicing with them for like maybe like a month or 2 months, and I'm like, so am I in the band? It was the funny times, just like, you need an invitation? I'm like, oh, I guess I'm in.
Yeah, it was kind of essentially. I think I was like 3 practices in with Vicious Attack before I was like, so what's going on? Yeah, I think it was like after day 1, like I was so scared. Like I came in here. This whole area looks like a prison. Like the outside of this building has got barbed wire on the fence. So I'm like, oh god, I'm gonna get jumped. They're gonna take all my gear. And I went in here, and the drummer Fabian was like, "You could leave your stuff here if you want." You know, when you
like, I don't know about that yet.
And I'm like, yeah, I don't think I'm gonna do that. You know, leave my gear in a room where you only have the key, essentially.
Oh yeah.
What?
Our drummer for a few weeks we told our drummer he could leave our stuff there too.
Yeah.
And he was like, I don't know about that. And then now he just leaves it there.
Yeah, of course. All right, so you try out for Inner Decay. You are in the band. So,
yeah.
All right. At the time, who was the band? They had
we had
drummer.
Yeah, our drummer was
Guitar player.
Radovan.
Okay.
We just call him Raji. Raji. I forgot how you say his last name. I think it's Czech. He's a Czech guy. And then we had obviously Tom Bielski.
Okay.
He's a guitarist.
Original.
Yeah. Then our drummer. Oh, I said the drummer. I don't think we had a second guitarist at that point.
Or a bass player?
We had a bassist, Jadek Badziak.
Okay.
Then me, so it was only 4 of us at the moment. And
I think it's amazing when a band can keep all the original members, because it's like every band that I've known or been a part of has had like just a bunch of lineup changes, whether it be for creative differences or...
I think the only original member is me and Tom now. We
So Inner Decay wasn't playing shows at that point.
No, the funny thing is we had only been playing for like 3-4 months, and then Tom's like, "Hey, I got us a show up in Milwaukee," and I'm like, "What?" I'm like, we've been playing for like 3 months, and we got a show up in Milwaukee, and it was with Amon and Mars. It was like one of those little like, you know, you had to like sell tickets and stuff. So
you opened up for Amon Amarth?
Yeah, as our first show. That's why I was like, "What the heck?"
Jesus Christ!
So that
when was this? What year?
This was like, let me look that up. I think it was November. I think Inner Decay formed.
Well, I think I saw in your bio was either 2014 or 2015. When
it had to have been 2014 or 15.
So this was when they were not even like too big yet.
Oh, the Amon Amarth?
Yeah.
Oh, really? Did they? I always thought they were always big.
No, they weren't always big.
When I was jamming to these guys.
Yeah. I think they really hit their stride when they released the album. I think it was Surtur Rising. At that point, people started to really figure out who they were.
Oh, wow.
And then now, forget about it. They're like headlining festivals.
Yeah, it was
crazy.
It was a great show because I think it was with Skeleton Witch too.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and I'm just like, I'm like, we're not ready for this.
That's all. You know, now that you say that, I might have seen them. Where did you? You said Milwaukee.
Milwaukee and
It was a rave or something.
Yes, I think it was a rave. Yeah, it was a rave.
I might have seen them in the Chicago stop for that because I remember that lineup. I think it was Skeleton Witch and Amon Amarth, and this was right before they released that album. Oh. Holy crap, that's awesome!
And we, a lot of the people that we met at that show that saw us there,
yeah.
like they're still friends with us. We actually got a show with like I met Evan Yunker at that show, and he had us come up to Milwaukee a few times. So it's like we made connections off of that show, and it was just crazy.
Okay, so you guys are you're a 4-piece.
Mm-hmm.
First show you play for Amon Amarth. Did you have any music recorded at that point?
No, I don't think we even had a demo at that point. We were just kind of there. We had nothing.
And you said no second guitar player. When did the second guitar player
second
come?
guitar player came by, let me think, because there was like a lot of shifting around. We had, so at the moment, I think the very first time we had a second guitar player was when Burns came into the band.
Okay.
Bernardo.
Yeah. Purge.
Yeah. We were playing a show at Fallout. Mm-hmm. And he was doing our sound there. And it's like, hey, you guys sounded really good, but you guys should probably have a second guitarist. He's like, how much shoot you guys a message? I'd really like to try it for you guys. Mm-hmm. So he did, and then Tom was like, cool, because we liked their music. So like, yeah, he's a really good guitar player. So like, sure. And then
yeah, Purge was like there was a point where they were so prominent in the Chicago scene. But okay, so you added.
Yeah, he came into the
5.
picture. So now we have a full lineup. And so there was a long transition where we're like trying to figure out like, well, we didn't really like, we're not used to playing with the second guitar, so we had to figure that out a little bit. And they made a little changes. Also, his style was a little bit different than like what Tom was playing. So he was shredding a lot, and whereas Tom is more like into the melodic stuff. So they found a little balance there. Now,
did you ever record anything with like an EP or anything with that?
Yeah, actually, he's on our album. He's our original demo was without a second guitarist. It was just Tom, and then that was recorded in like basically where we practice now. One of his friends, I think his name is Martin. He recorded it, and but the EP our album was recorded with him. They did most of the guitars, like Tom recorded most of the guitars through the computer and all that, the fancy technology. And then we went through the Nook studio, and he did all the mixing and recorded my vocals, the drum, the programming and all that. And he took care of it from there, and so he's on that album.
All right, so let's talk about that. Let's talk about you guys have a brand new album, right? 2019 release. When that come out?
No, this was
18?
18 or end of 17.
Really?
Yeah, it's been a year-ish, I think.
Okay, because I think I usually check out like through Spotify.
It might have been 18 then, yeah, late 18, close to like.
But you guys were working on it for a while.
Yeah.
What was it called? Souls of War?
Souls of War, yeah.
Okay. So you guys come out with this album. It's on all the platforms and all that. I've been listening to it for just pop it in for like a week now, I like Ocean Away. That's one of my more favorite songs because I like a melody.
Oh yeah, I feel like that song is kind of like a little bit different than the other ones.
Yeah, it definitely is a little different. But you guys, to accompany that album, came out with a music video as well. And what song was that for?
The one that we recently came out with was World Reduced to Ash.
Okay, so you got World Reduced to Ash as a music video. You've got this new album that came out. Did they come out in tandem, or was it like?
What do you mean, like at the same time?
Like together? Yeah.
No, we just kind of did the album, and then like we were like, yeah, we should probably have a music video.
Yeah.
And one of Tom's friends, he comes to like all our shows at Livewater because he lives right there, and so he's like, yeah, I can help you guys shoot a music video, and it was just kind of like a little do-it-yourself kind of music video, but it came out pretty nice. I liked it, and we
definitely
figured choose that song because that's one of our more popular songs. So
you guys have like a lot of live recordings. Was that the first music video, guys, that you guys like attempted?
you mean like all the YouTube like live?
Yeah, I've seen you guys a lot on Facebook, a lot on YouTube, or like.
Oh
Instagram.
no, we tried. We actually have our first one was like we did it for Down the Civilization.
Okay.
But that one was a little bit rougher, you know, and it was also using our demo song.
Okay.
So after.
Hey, whatever you need to do to get yourself out there, man. You know?
And then we tried doing Rot Within. We tried doing a music video for that, but it kind of didn't work out. It was like too much work, and then we're like, we're just gonna have someone else do it.
Yeah, that's another thing is finding somebody who could do it good and also do it cheap.
Yeah.
You know? It's like it's definitely one of those things. It's like we want a nice video, but
nobody wants to pay for it though.
Exactly. It's unfortunate. Luckily, I've been getting better with my editing, so I've been like releasing more videos for my bands and whatnot. So, we got this music video. We've got this new album. Now, you guys, did you printed it physically, right?
What
the album?
The album, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
The digipack.
Yeah. You never know. Like some people, what is the answer now? It's like, do you give somebody a card with like the little Q bar on it?
We had one of those with another band I was in, and they're.
How did those do?
Well, we didn't really have. The problem is we did a lot of. We didn't really have a following. We were trying to be like all studio.
Okay.
And they kind of really, we didn't have a following, so it was we didn't have anybody to buy them. And at first I was kind of like hell-bent on the digital route, but I think people just want a hard copy. Like people buy the stuff when like they're there to see you and they like your band. Like they might not even remember you tomorrow.
Well, that's what it is. It's like you face that risk. It's like you give somebody this little cardboard card which says download our album at this scannable Q bar.
Yeah.
And you'll scan it. And then you have to decide also, what you're going to charge for it. It's like everybody wants everything for free now, which is also an issue.
Yeah.
But you have to trust that they're going to put that in their pocket, take it back out when they go home, and hopefully, they haven't forgotten about you.
Yeah, and they could always when it's digital, they can always just stream it somewhere or download it somewhere. Like you can go to the YouTube video and convert the audio, and now you have the song. So it's like, I feel like when you're buying the physical copy, you're giving them something more than just the music. It's like the artwork, the whole package. So
that's another thing that people don't realize is all this costs money. Like the artwork, if you could find a really good artist that works with you. I saw the art that you have on your new album. It's really cool. Did you guys do that? Did you have a friend?
Yeah, our guitarist cousin, Pavel, or not Pavel, sorry.
You can go ahead and plug him if you know his business or whatever.
Oh no, David, my bad. David, yeah. It's David Pashkovsky. That's why I got the names mixed up.
I understand why that would be a little confusing.
So he did the artwork because he does he's like a huge artist. He also did our logo. So he did all the artwork and stuff.
So he has history with you guys.
Yeah. And he did that, and he didn't really charge us anything. I think we hooked him up with something else. Tom paid him. Oh yeah, we did pay him a little bit, but he wanted to do it for free just because he loves doing it. But
that's cool.
And he's his cousin, so.
Yeah, and it really fits. I think it really fits. I don't know if you guys really have a theme, so to speak, but a lot of songs on that do kind of speak to, what a lot of death metal goes to is just kind of like eradication,
Yeah, we started off with that for the Souls of War album. That I kind of like the first song that Tom wrote. The first song, Down the Civilization. He wrote the chorus and two verses, and then I needed to just fill in another verse. So I'm like, well, we're on this. I want to write a concept album, so most of it is a concept album.
So it is a concept album.
Yeah, a lot of the songs share the same, same main character, and like the same theme. They all follow each other. In the album, they're not in the exact order that they go, but they all do follow like a timeline. And
Okay.
but yeah, so he specifically made the artwork like for the album.
With that idea
Yeah.
in mind.
Yep.
Okay, that's pretty sweet, man. I always like last time we did episode 2. Kevin of Misanthropy. I don't know if you've had the pleasure. The last album kind of followed a theme as well. He's vocalist and guitar player. He was explaining his process to me a little bit. Do you have like a process when you're writing like lyrics?
Song specific or like album specific?
It could be either. Like where does your I guess just like your drive come from? When you're writing lyrics.
Well, you have a lot of different ones. Like this one was just usually it's a lot of like political stuff, just things that go on in the world, speaking out about certain things. But this one was a little bit different because I was like, well, we got one song. Let me. I've never written a concept album, and I've always wanted to.
That's just a pretty cool idea.
So I just kind of took that one, and then I just kind of started creating a storyline, and so I created like the storyline itself from like time to, and then it started changing little by little. But starting with that song, I created the storyline. And then as I started writing lyrics, I'm like, well, which song should this be in the story? And
okay, so you're basically like when you're writing, like maybe you don't have the album 100% complete yet, and you're kind of just writing to that story.
Yeah.
What is the narrative about then on that new album?
The album?
Yeah.
It's basically it's the end of the world type theme. Basically, it's talking about like two countries. It's kind of like symbolic for like the way Russia and the U.S. were during the Cold War. So it kind of becomes like a nuclear arms race, and like during that time the crisis was averted, but this would be like a scenario where it wasn't averted, and basically there's an argument between like one nation being like a more imperialist nation, and they go in and they invade them, and then they get pissed off and they retaliate, and so now this war is going on for like 100 years, just getting ridiculous to the point where tensions are getting escalated, and then within that story there's like a sub story of like there's like a soldier, like he never intended to be a soldier, but like when they came in, they like destroyed his family, ruined his life, so now he's incentivized to now join the war, and so he becomes hell-bent on revenge. And so that's the little sub story within the major story, which at the end is just like the nuclear bombs hit, and now we're all screwed.
So like, all right, we touched upon it a little bit. You were into punk and like before that rap, and what got you into death metal? Like where did that come from?
It was pretty funny because I think I actually came, so I was listening to like pop punk, then I started getting into like street punk, hardcore punk, like the actual punk, and then after that I started getting into like a little bit of metal, but then I started, obviously the next transition would be like, thrash, like a combination between like hardcore and like thrash. So I started getting into Slayer. And then for a while I was getting into like, metalcore, like, As I Lay Dying. I was listening to all the emo bands and stuff. So I'm like, hey, this stuff's pretty cool.
So it was just like a natural progression.
Yeah. And I remember when the first time I heard Deicide, I'm like, man, what the hell is this crap? I can't even understand what the fuck he's saying. Now he's one of my favorite vocalists.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, there's always that moment that happens where you just kind of click over,
Yeah, I think originally the first band that I wanted to start was going to be like a hardcore band, like that, like street punk or something along those lines. I never intended it to be like death metal, and then I just decided to I was like experimenting with like the low growls, and so that's all I could do for a while, just like the.
Yeah.
And then it came to a point where I learned the highs, and I'm like, oh, let's start doing those.
Yeah.
And then
I see that in the album that you got. You do a lot of, like, I don't know if it's you or a different member, but you do.
I do all the vocals.
Okay, cool. So, like on the album, you'll do the low, and then you'll accompany it with that high.
Yeah.
It sounds pretty brutal.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. All right, so let's talk about that then. What are the main influences for like, all of you guys, like the band?
The whole band itself?
Yeah.
A lot of it.
You try to emulate. I guess not emulate, but.
A lot of it is like old school death metal. A lot of that comes from a lot of that comes from like Tom's huge into like Death and like Morbid Angel, like those really old school death metal bands. And so I know that his writing style is really influenced around those bands. And like he'll add a little bit of melody here and there, you know, catchy riffs. And for me, like we kind of like blended because I got like huge into Dying Fetus. And once I
pretty sweet too.
Yeah, once I got like those really low gutturals down, I wanted to throw them into everything. So I'm like, how do I make this work? And so now it's kind of like a blend between like, you know, his melodic-y old school death metal with like my love for like the really brutal stuff. So it kind of blends in the middle.
Okay. Yeah, you know, listening to the album, it's a lot, obviously, of what you expect for death metal, but there are a lot of, like, curveballs in there as well. Like, the one song I was talking, Ocean Away, like, that really is different.
Yeah, it's way more melodic than all the other ones.
I love melody, too, but if that song wasn't there and maybe, like, one other one, you guys, like, I kind of pinned you for, like, Bloodbath. Like, you sound a lot like Bloodbath.
Oh, yeah, I think that's Tom's influence a lot. More of those types of bands, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I love me some Bloodbath. I love... Death metal really is just, you know, I love Bloodbath, Obituary. Well, I guess...
Obituary was a huge influence for me for the vocals. I just love their musical style, and John Tardy is one of my favorite just because it's so raw.
Oh, dude. Every time they come through... I think they're coming again, maybe like, I don't know if it's November or something, but they're coming through with Abba, and it's going to be awesome, totally going to that show. Immediately,
Where's that at?
I try to get on it.
Yeah. No, all you got to list of promoters.
Yeah. Literally, I came out and they're like, sorry, no locals for that show. I'm like, damn it.
You got to automate the process.
Yeah.
This just goes out instantly.
Exactly. But that unfortunately, it's at the Forge, you know.
Oh, the Forge. We just played there.
Yeah, I saw it. Flotsam and Jetsam, right?
Yeah.
How was that?
It was more packed than I thought it would be because it was like a Monday, I think. And so I was surprised at how full it was. It was a pretty decent turnout. It was fun. I liked it was pretty. We were pretty tight on time, and it was pretty crunched. But a lot of our friends came out.
Like 25 minutes.
Yeah, I think it was something like that.
Okay.
And they were. We were really tight on time, and we weren't allowed backstage. So I'm like, oh man, that's not cool.
Yeah, sometimes they do that.
Yeah, so it's like once we were off, we were just like the rest of the crowd, basically.
How was the crowd receptive to you?
Pretty good. That's why I was surprised about because there was like a lot of people like lined up against the gate that I didn't even know. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. People, and it was a younger crowd. We don't usually play to like 17 and up shows. I think this was a 17 and up show. So we had a few younger people there, and that's always good because you.
I was only wondering because there is a very big jump from what you guys do to Flotsam and Jetsam.
Oh yeah. But it was kind of a mixed lineup too.
Yeah.
Like there was a few like more heavy bands. There was like a more metalcore style band.
Okay.
So I think Flotsam and Jetsam was one of the few that played that genre. There's maybe like one or two other bands, but it was pretty like wide variety.
All right, so with this album that you guys came out with, did you have that in time for that show?
For the
Flotsam and Jetsam.
Oh yeah, for sure. We had that out for a while now. I think our album release was a little bit before her birthday, like maybe a few months before your birthday.
Well, that's so you were able to distribute that then. All right. Did you guys have any did you collaborate with anybody on that album, or is it just purely the five?
You mean like with another?
Yeah, sometimes people will have like a musician drop in for a solo or like a verse or something.
The only collab we got is we have on one of the songs there was like some like yell chanting going on in the background. And then I have Nick Nativo from the one recording our album. He kind of popped in for a second to do some vocals. And my girlfriend over there did some vocals. So other than that, it was just always a little chance. But the rest was pretty much just us.
Let's talk about your favorite venues. Like, where do you like to play?
Well, we got to give a shout out to Livewire, of course, because I mean Dave Horniak from the Livewire has just been so cool with us, and. So that's like home for us.
Yeah, it's like home for us too. Like we played there definitely more recently than any other venue. If, we show up and I think they had said they have a knob for us already. Like yeah, the Vicious Attack knob, where everything's
up to
like
11.
Yeah. All right, so you got the live wire.
Then probably Reggie's. Yeah,
Reggie's.
Like, we love playing there. It's like one of the more well-known venues in Chicago, and the food is awesome. And
I was gonna say, I say that every episode that we plug Reggie's. I'm like, food is a big deal with me. Like, if you could, like, do a show and then go next door and just eat some awesome food. That's why I love the Cobra Lounge as well.
Yeah. The cool thing about the live wire too is that they'll let you bring in food usually, and they're not like
they'll let you bring in food, or you could just go next door to that little Mexican restaurant,
La Oaxaqueña, that nobody can pronounce.
Exactly, that's why I said the Mexican restaurant. I'm Mexican and I couldn't pronounce that, but so we got the live wire. You've got Reggie's. That was. You said your first time playing Mojo's?
Yes.
Or I guess not Mojo's.
Mojo's.
The Forge.
We played the Forge.
The Forge.
Yeah. Mojo's once, and then the Forge.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So, like, what would you say your experience was like with that? Like, you enjoyed it overall? I mean, you said you were rushed a little bit.
Yeah. It was fun. I mean, I like the environment. The wings were pretty good there too, and the beer was good, and we got a few drink tickets, so that was cool.
Yeah, and I think like I don't know if it's true, but they really like stepped up their game. Like I feel like everything is just nicer there.
Yes,
they moved a couple poles that were in the way.
Oh, it's right in the middle of
it. It's one of those things like with the when it was Mojo's, the floor was, I think it was like a linoleum or something like that.
I heard a lot of they used to like really have a bad rap, and I think right now it's kind of like building its.
The Forge is miles ahead of where Mojo's was. Like I hated going there because there'd be like a couple columns in the way, and then the floor. If somebody accidentally spilled like
it's
half
super
of a beer,
slippery, right?
You'd be like it'll mosh and just slip and just fall back. And then there goes your neck, basically, for work next morning. But, I mean, overall, it's definitely stepped up its game, All right. So you got some favorite venues in there?
Yeah.
What are some favorite bands that you like playing with?
Local? Like,
local.
I know, like, well, we're really cool with Artwork for the Blind. They, but they're from Kentucky. And, so... I'd like to plug them in there. They're pretty cool guys, and they've invited us down to Kentucky a bunch of times.
What part?
They're like right basically in Louisville.
Okay, Louisville.
And the guitarist Saul, he's like let us crash at his place. So he's invited us down for a metal fest down there.
That's pretty sweet. So you guys have like one of those relationships where you're like, hey, come over here, we'll set up a show, and then you go over there. All right, so. I was going to ask you this question, but based on your memory, we'll see how this goes. Do you have any favorite like show moments?
Oh, that I remember.
Okay, good.
Like specifically like playing a show where
like of all time. Let's say that
Well, this one's not a. So I'll
of all your history.
This one was
what sticks out?
This one was kind of like a. Bad, but it's like a funny memory anyways.
Yeah.
I remember one time we were playing what was this place, Pub Yahoo or something like that, when I was with my first band, or no, I think it was with my second band. And so I was like, I had just drank like a little pint of Jaeger, and then all the parents like
start.
Yeah, since I was playing with a bunch of like kids that were like 18, 17, all the parents were like buying me shots, and then I got up there and I was like. The first band that played was like this like really religious-y like Christian metalcore band.
Okay.
And so I'm just sitting there like I wasn't digging it, but I was like I stayed there. I'm like I don't want to be an asshole. It's all about supporting the other bands.
Drinks are piling up inside of you.
And then so then when we went up on stage, they all left and took like all their friends with them. I'm like, whack.
Oh, no.
So we were playing to like an empty venue other than like the people we brought. Yeah. I'm like up there trash. I'm like, man, what happened to all the core kids, man? So my guitarist at the time was just like, yo.
Oh man.
So That was I think back to it now, like, oh man, that was so stupid, but it was kind of funny at the same time.
All right. So that's a best memory for you.
A funny memory.
A funny memory. You got any worse memories?
Oh no, that was like
that was pretty up there. Yeah.
Yeah, like mostly just man, when we played what, the Holiday Horrors.
Okay.
We practiced so much for that show. Mm-hmm. I'm like, I got this. And then like second song in, I like spaced out on a line. Yeah. And
oh, dude, I would have never noticed.
I think I came in like a line later, and I just look over at Alfred, and Alfred's like looking over at me. Just like, don't look at me.
I'll figure it out. I would have never noticed, dude. Well, it seemed like you guys were on it.
Yeah, I've gotten into a habit of playing everything off. Like if I lie to myself and tell myself I didn't mess up, they don't know I messed up.
That's funny. Yeah, I saw me and the lady were there, and you guys sounded great. So
thank you.
They did a really good job with your sound, miking everything up.
Oh yeah, that's the other thing. The other reason why I love Reggie's, they have such good sound.
Oh. Professional.
Yeah.
Not just some like, all right, well.
You're telling me I get two sound guys?
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's cool, man. All right.
There was a funny time when we were down in Kentucky. Like most of it is like not the show like specifically, but just everything around the show. Mm-hmm. Like Kentucky was lots of fun because we were playing this really really like weird dive bar, and there was like, you go into the bathroom, there's like piss literally like on the floor. Yeah. And one time this big ass cockroach, like big ass fucking cockroach, ran across the stage, and like my girlfriend's freaking out, and I'm just like watching it go by as I'm like singing. All of a sudden, I'm just like,
oh. Yeah. It's one of those that you have to check under your boot to see if it's still alive.
No, that was so big that it just fell off of the boot.
Oh man. Oh, those are. Yeah, I always ask this question because as a band, you're going to see some great moments, but you're going to see a lot more terrible moments just because, we play a lot of these shows, and sometimes the venue won't promote it at all, or, maybe the promoter doesn't promote it at all.
Oh, yeah.
So a lot of times you're playing to like 5 people. We talked about, like a place you could play, but also like food. Mm-hmm. So I noticed that you and your lady are always going out to these extravagant places. You're both, I guess, would you consider yourself maybe a foodie, I guess?
Oh yeah, she actually has her own like group called Food Fatties for Life.
Really?
Yeah, I think it's like on Instagram and mostly Instagram, I think, but they just take all their food pictures and.
Yeah, you guys are always going on these awesome places. And I'm like, damn it.
I like to eat. She likes to take pictures of the food. I'll be like getting my food and I'm about to take a bite. She's like, wait, no, I'm hungry.
One of the places that she went to was Crusade Burger Bar.
Oh, we've been there. That place is pretty decent.
Yeah, I just went there. I'm like, all right. So me and my girlfriend, we pull up and we saw a line out the door. I'm like, oh wow. Shit. And then we ate there and it was pretty good. Unfortunately here in Chicago we're spoiled.
Yeah.
So like I'm already in my head comparing it while I'm eating at Takuma's or the beloved Lockdown.
Oh man, I missed that. I went there once and then I went back like another time and I'm like, man, what have I been missing?
Yeah. And then now it's just gone. Forever? No. Well, we'll see. Who knows if they'll ever come back. But that was one of those things that really broke my heart. So we went to Crusade Burger Bar. And we want to try a little of everything. So I got I forgot what the burger had. It was like their staple, their standard. It had mac and cheese, bacon on it. And that was good. And then we had a little thing of mac and cheese by itself, and then we had to try one of the shakes, obviously.
Oh, mac and cheese is like a must. Anytime you go to a place that has weird mac and cheese other than just standard mac and cheese, you gotta try it.
Yeah, of course. Me and my drummer Fabian will disagree on this, but with Kuma's versus Lockdown in terms of mac and cheese. You know, he loved the Lockdown mac and cheese compared to the Kuma's. I think they both have.
I'm
their
a big fan of the
properties.
Kuma's, but I don't remember what the Lockdowns was.
Yeah, you only went there once.
Yeah, so it's hard to like compare them. But I know that we're a huge fan of the Kuma's mac and cheese.
Oh, they're great. Yeah, I love. You know, I don't go there as much just because for me it's like 40 minutes. You know.
Oh yeah, that is far.
Like it's kind of rough, especially when you're navigating through all that traffic. You know.
Mm-hmm.
But do you have any other places in your mind that like what do you like to hit up?
Like the types of food?
Yeah, just anywhere like that you've eaten recently or
we
that.
love sushi. Sushi's.
Okay.
Oh, I love sushi.
Where do you go for sushi?
Recently we've been going to Ninja Sushi because it's in Portage Park, and we go to the gym right there, and it's like right around, and it's like pretty standard. We just go right there, and we just like. I'm like sitting there doing like the unit price. I'm like, how do I get the most fish for my buck?
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait, why is it cheaper to buy the 6 fish appetizer instead of buying the 24 fish? Like you're supposed to give me a better deal the more I buy.
You're like talking to the waitress, and she's like, what the hell are you talking about? Just pick something.
So I'm just sitting there eating all the fish, and man, I'm a big fan of Royal Buffet. It's in.
Where's that?
That's in.
I can kind of infer a little bit, but what is that?
It's in Roselle. It's like right where Roselle. I'm not sure if it's in Roselle, but it's right by Roselle.
A little bit of a drive.
Yeah, but it's a seafood buffet. Okay. So they got a little bit of everything. It's mostly like Chinese, but you could have like lobster tails.
The one thing I find about like buffet is that unless you're like in Vegas or something.
Oh, that's what I heard. They have the best buffets, right?
Oh, it's incredible. But like, unless you're like in Vegas, the quality, it's really hard finding like a quality buffet. How would you say the quality? Is it more about?
It's a little bit higher end because you're paying a little bit more, but it's still like buffet quality. But it's like you're not gonna get like that. You know, sometimes you get like a bite of something that you feel is cold and like you don't know how long it's been sitting there.
They got the lamps. It's just sitting under the lamps. You know?
Yeah. La Michoacana's pretty good. But they're kind of like a snack thing. But man, every time we see one, they're popping up everywhere.
I work at the airport. They're gonna put one in the airport.
Yeah,
like that's insane to me.
Yeah, they're getting big.
You're like, you got Dunkin' Donuts
and corn.
Home running. La Michoacana.
Yeah, it's funny.
It's really weird. What's your favorite pizza place in Chicago?
Oh, I had to give it to Giordano's. Like
Giordano's?
Yeah, I know it's like generic, but
you know they have a good stuffed.
That's what I get. I usually prefer stuffed pizza over anything.
Yeah.
But there's some little like Villa Napoli's pretty good. And I used to work at Pizza Hut, so no matter what, if I'm getting cheap pizza, I gotta get that stuffed crust pizza.
Yeah. That's one of those things. Like I asked that because we have just hundreds of little places.
Everywhere. Yeah.
In Chicago, you could go to Villa Rosa, you could go to Falco's, Then you've got your big pizza, you've got your Homerton, your Giordano's, even Connie's. It's like it's commercial, but you go to the actual restaurant and it's actually pretty decent.
Oh.
And just so much choices.
Yeah.
All right. Well, talked about food a little bit. Let's. Where are you going with Inner Decay? What's the next move here? You guys released that new album. Are you still gonna ride that out for like another year? Or?
Probably another year, and then. But right now we actually have 4 new songs so far.
Really?
Tom already wrote another one. We just played a new song like last show or 2 shows ago. Mm-hmm. I think it might have been last show. The first time we played that song, so that was our new song, and it's gonna go towards the new album. Mm-hmm. We had Tom still has one more song that he wrote and did lyrics for and stuff. So we're just waiting for that to we haven't learned it yet. It's just recorded, and we still have to learn that one and play that one. So that might take us a little while, and then maybe like another 2 to 3 songs, and we have close to an album. Mm-hmm. And so once we get those done, we're probably going to start playing those songs a lot more, and then probably do another album within a year or 2.
All right, man. Well, we're kind of reaching the end here. There's the obvious thing to plug, but do you have anything else that you want to plug? You can plug your, album.
Yeah, I mean, we got the Souls of War album out on Spotify, Bandcamp, I think there's a bunch of links on Facebook, and so that's out. We got a new shirt with writing on the back in 2 colors this time.
Ooh,
yeah,
fancy.
so that's fancy. We got so other than that show at Reggie's, we got one after that in Grandma's house.
Grandma's house. Any details on that one yet?
It's a house show. It's up on our website, but I don't even know where the address is. I just assume we're just gonna pull up.
Just be like, all right, there's just load in the living room.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. All right. Well, man. July 14th, A Legion, Ex Mortis, Reaping Asmodia, Inner Decay, Central Disorder. Go to that show. I'm definitely going to try to get this out before that. All right, well, thanks for coming, man. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Michael.
All right. Goodbye. All right, sweet. Something happened with this camera while we were talking.
Maybe you use low battery?
Off. No, it had a full battery. Yeah, it just decided to turn off. What the hell?
It just happened now, right?
Yeah, it made a sound.
With no recourse, with your two words, informing course, the man.